Jed Lowrie has just announced his retirement, so we're going to say some kind words, and we're going to do right by Jed, because he is an Oakland A through and through, so we're going to talk about Jed Lowrie today. And then I got some big personal news that I am very excited to share with you. You're definitely going to want to hear what that is. And then later on, we're going to talk about the latest injury to the A's rotation and how the rotation could look for opening day today on Locked On A's. How's it going, A's fans, and welcome to episode 546 of the Locked On A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, noted baseball fan Jason Burke, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Jed Lowrie because he was in Oakland A for 7 seasons. We're going to talk about some of his achievements and kind of what he meant to the A's franchise over the course of roughly a decade. So we're getting into that. And then right after that, we're going to talk about my own personal achievements. I'm going to give you guys something that I think you'll be excited about. I'm very excited about it. I'm going to just share what it is in roughly 10 minutes. And then we're going to wrap it up with the latest injury in the A's rotation, potentially being Drew Rucinski, and how that could impact the A's roster construction for opening day. We're a week away from opening day, and we do not know who is in the A's rotation yet. So good times. But before we get into anything, thank you so much for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. We're free and available on all platforms, including on YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now, make sure to match the subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000 subs in the next week by opening day, and we are not looking good right now, but hey, this is your first time. Hit the subscribe button. Why not? Also, make sure to comment and like down below. There's going to be a comment prompt, I guess, for you guys here in the second segment when I announce my news. So be ready for that. And have those typing fingers at the ready as well. But also make sure to follow us on social media at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm by Jason B on Twitter. Check us out also at Inside the A's on Twitter and on Facebook. It's a place where I write about articles. I don't write about articles. I write articles about the A's. That's what I meant. It's still very early in the morning, and I have not had my coffee. But Inside the A's, that's where A's news happens. So go check out Inside the A's or si.com/MLB/athletics. But let's talk a little bit about Jed friggin' Lowrie. I remember a couple of years ago, I called him a vampire, and I stand by that. But what a vampire-y career he's had. He was traded originally to the A's. This is what I like, is how many times he came to the A's, not necessarily of his own volition, but he seemed to really like his time with the A's, and that's what's important. He was traded to the A's in 2013 for Chris Carter, who was good. Chris Carter came back to the A's later. Max Stassi, who is currently still, I believe, terrorizing. Is he still on the Angels? I think so. He's still terrorizing the A's, so that's fun. And then Brad Peacock, who was okay for a couple of years. So not a bad trade for the A's, honestly. They got to know Jed Lowrie. They got to dance with Jed Lowrie, and then keep him around for 6 more seasons after that. He was a free agent after the 13 season. After the 14 season, he signed with the Houston Astros again after they had traded him in December, and then he was traded back to the A's from Houston in November of 2015. That's just funny. That was for a minor leaguer, Brendan McCurry, and I do not believe he has made his big league debut. I doubt that he will at this point, because that was 8 years ago. The A's have done fairly well in both Jed Lowrie trades with the Houston Astros. The Jed Luhnow Houston Astros, might I add, the genius of the sky. No, that's EOS Sky. The genius of GMs is how he would like to be introduced, and he lost both of those trades. I would argue. I'd argue that. But he was very good for the A's in those seasons that he was acquired for, and he was granted free agency after the 2018 season. He signed with the New York Mets on a 2-year deal, and he played 9 games in those 2 years. Mets fans do not have the same love for Jed Lowrie that A's fans do. In 2021, when he started doing stuff, they were like, what the heck, Jed? What's going on here? Why couldn't he get on the field for us? And he's doing all of these amazing things for the Oakland A's again. That's the guy that we wanted, and so Mets fans do not like Jed Lowrie. A's fans love Jed Lowrie. In 7 seasons with the A's, he hit .262. Not bad. He also hit .333, and also the game changed in this period of time. These 10 years, that is when the game has started changing very heavily with sabermetrics. There was the whole Miguel Cabrera, Mike Trout MVP debate. That's what kind of kicked it off in 2012. 2012, yeah. And it has been an evolution of baseball since in those 10 years. The slider is a big deal. And he has made a career still being able to do what he does, which is mostly hit doubles. But he had a fantastic career, and a lot of that was with the A's. He also hit 77 home runs in those 7 seasons and had, you're waiting for the doubles total. Here it is. 205 doubles with the A's in those 7 years. That is the 7th most doubles in Oakland history. I believe it's tied with Terry Steinbach, if I am remembering that correctly. So he was, in fact, a doubles machine in the 7 years that he was with the A's. I am intrigued as to actually who was ahead of him, but I had to hit record real fast. So maybe I'll look that up and I'll tweet it out. Here's Jed Lowrie, 7th with Terry Steinbach, and here's the 6 guys that are ahead of him who probably played a lot more seasons with some version of the A's, whether that was Philadelphia or Kansas City or Oakland. Hopefully Oakland forever. But in 13, 17, and 18, those 3 years that Jed Lowrie was with the team, he was 20% above league average, which is not like a sexy thing to say, I know, but that means that he was a very good baseball player, and he was never like the star of the team. He was a nice complimentary piece, and he was producing very solid numbers, and he was there for a reason, and that's the reason. He was 20% above league average in those seasons. He also dealt with some injuries. He missed some time with a toe injury. He had some shortened seasons due to injury, but those 3 seasons, when he was fully healthy and at his peak, were pretty good for the A's, I gotta say. 2013 was a lot of fun, too. He finished 20th in the MVP voting in 2018 with the Oakland A's. We've had a few of those. Matt Olson also finished fairly well in the MVP voting in 2021. Yes. And, Matt Chapman's been in the discussion as well. But Jed Lowrie, again, complimentary piece. 20th in MVP voting just 5 years ago. And he was, into his 30s at that point. He was no spring chicken, as the kids say. And he also had his lone All-Star appearance in 2018. So I know that there's a lot more to Jed Lowrie, but I want to go over his career accomplishments with the A's because that's part of the reason why we love him. The other reason that we love him is because he set the A's, the Oakland doubles record in 2017 with 49 doubles. That is why he is a doubles machine. It's because of what he did in 2017, just racking up doubles all the time. He is ridiculous. And whenever he would get a double the last couple of years, it'd be like, oh, there's Jed Lowrie just getting more doubles. And it was fun on social media. Well, doubles machine, Jed Lowrie does it again. Stuff like that. But the reason that he kept being brought back, other than his production, because his production was good and he didn't cost like a ton. So he was kind of like the perfect A's player. But he was also a great veteran in the clubhouse. He was a mentor to the young guys that they had on the roster. In his first stint with the A's, you still had Josh Reddick, who was a little young. They still had their Sonny Grays. They had their young group, and then they had Coco Crisp, and Brandon Moss was still young, major league wise, but not age wise. And Josh Donaldson was a young guy. Yoenis Cespedes hadn't been, in baseball or in the major leagues that long. They had some guys that, could use a little bit of mentoring, and Jed Lowrie was that guy. And then later on, in, the 17-18 grouping, you had your Matt Olsons, you had your Matt Chapmans, you had Chad Pinder to a degree. You had your younger guys. I'm sure that Chris Bassett and Sean Manaea and some of those other guys that were young at the time also fed off of him a little bit. So he was a great veteran presence for the A's. He meant a lot, and I think that, the 7 years is, you kind of know that he was around for a while, but 7 years is a long time for an A's player, and we don't get a lot of those. And the A's kind of gave us one, sort of, in a way, not consecutive years, but they gave us a guy for 7 years, and he did his thing. And so Jed Lowrie is very much loved and appreciated here in Oakland. and we're gonna miss him. And if there's ever a celebration for his retirement, I would very much love to attend, I guess, or just celebrate him on that day. I don't know, whatever. But anyways, coming up, I got some big news that I cannot wait to share with you guys. So we're gonna get into that. So stay locked in. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet does not win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from money line to point scores and three-pointers drained. Is your bracket busted? Because mine is. My bracket is in shambles, and I don't want to look at it anymore. So, you know what would help with that? Some FanDuel Sportsbook. You just go play some bets. Have some extra fun with the tournament, because it's not over. It's over for me, but it's not over. So may as well still have some fun with it. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. So don't miss your chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to the Locked On A's podcast. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to subscribe wherever you'd like to hear podcasts. Follow us on social media at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I am by Jason B on Twitter. Check out Inside the A's for more A's news, insight, and analysis coming your way whenever A's news happens. It's at Inside the A's, SI.com/MLB/athletics. And that SI, it's gonna come in context here. It's gonna play a major role in my personal news that I have for you guys right now. And the personal news that I have for you is that I am now a full season credentialed member of the media as part of Inside the A's. I get to go to A's games and go into the clubhouse and do some more reporting. Go do some elbow touching with some of the guys, some of the players, some of the coaches. You know how I want, Mike McCarthy? I want to talk to him, the A's bullpen coach. I get to go talk to him now. Mark Kotze, I can be like, hey, well, what's up with this, Mark? Stuff like that. I can go try and find David Force and be like, hey, why you keep using my ideas, man? Stuff like that. It'll be a more serious matter, obviously, because it's press credential. It's work. But we're still gonna have fun here, and I'm gonna have better insights, I think, over here. Granted, I feel like I'm nailing it a decent amount of the time, so I don't know how more perfect the insight can get, but I'll have quotes. So there's that. I still need to reach out and see what I can use on the podcast, whether or not I can record, Kotze's presser or, the post-game player interviews, if I can record those and use those as part of the podcast, or if I can use them on the website. I would like to. I don't know if I'm allowed to. There might be differences in how you can do things. If you're a video member of the media or if you're a print member of the media, stuff like that. Also, do I need the express written consent of baseball? I don't know. So these are questions that I still need to have answered, but at the very least, I get to go ask some questions and if you like this podcast, I'm going to be asking those kinds of questions, and I'll have more insights based on what the guys are telling me, and I'm very excited about that. And hey, hopefully that means more player interviews on the podcast. We've had a few. We've had Tony Kemp already. We're friends. We're great. We've had Cole Irvin. We've had Jonah Bride. We've had some guys. We've had Mason Miller on the show recently. But hopefully we can spread it around a little bit more, or at least get some quotes from guys. Or shorts, like a one segment thing where I just record it on my phone and I can use it that way. We'll see what I'm allowed to do. But I'm excited. I'm very excited because A's media coverage is good. We have some solid beat writers, but I want to be that personality kind of guy. Not quite, the John Boy media stuff, because I don't get high on my own supply. And I also like the A's. So there's that. Shots fired. But no, I want to be more fun and also informative. And that's kind of not like the model that I follow at all, but it's a guiding point at sometimes where I want to have personality, but also provide stuff that nobody else is talking about. And so this is why I'm excited about being a member of the media for the 2023 season. I get to go to as many or as few games as I want to. I'm going to be, I got to work out the schedule with the babysitter, but I'll be at Sunday's game against the Giants, the exhibition game in Oakland, and then probably opening day. And if Shintaro Fujinami is not starting on opening day, which he might not be, we'll talk about that here in a second, then I'll go to his start against the Angels as well. That might be game 2 on Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. And then probably a game against the Cleveland Guardians. And then, probably a game, a series at the very least. So very excited about the opportunity. Thank you to the Oakland A's and everybody over there that helped make this happen. Thank you to the SI guys that helped me out as well. But it's been a process. We have been trying to get this official for a couple of months. I've been sitting on this for a while, but it is official. I got the email. I am approved. I am so excited. So the comment prompt that I have for you guys is, I want to know what you guys want more of from A's coverage. What is A's coverage in general missing? Not necessarily from me, but like what, or just from everybody. Like, what do you want to see more of? Do you want more like, hey, who is this guy? Kind of stuff. And you want to feel more attached to the team, because that's where I'm leaning right now. But if there's something else that you want, let me know. And I'll see if I can make it happen, because I want to provide A's fans just a place to go to for the coverage that they want. Not like, oh yeah, this is a story about some stuff and whatever. Sometimes I get bored by that. I like knowing like the numbers, and I want to talk numbers with the guys, and we'll see who's amenable to that and who's not. But let me know down in the comments what you want to see from A's coverage moving forward, and I'll see what I can do. It's gonna be very exciting. On a more personal note, I've been doing this for, not the podcast, but A's stuff for like a decade now. And so this feels nice to, I've been in the press box before. I know kind of how things work, but it's been, a few years and whatnot. And the podcast has helped me get to, it helped me get the writing job with SI and Fan Nation. And the writing job helped me get the press credential. And so now it's nice. Also, I get to go talk to Amelia, and she's a delight. I saw her at FanFest. She was like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I haven't talked to you in a couple... and we've talked on social media, but we haven't, interacted, face-to-face where we could see each other in a couple of years since she was named the A's PA announcer. And so that was fun. So I get to go hang out with Amelia a little bit. Not too much. It's still a place of work and business, but, get to go hang out and stuff. So it just feels nice. Like I've... Not made it by any means. I still need to make money, but it feels like I'm doing something right, and that feels nice. That's all I can say about that. But you know what doesn't feel nice? Looking at the A's rotation, because it is up in shambles right now, and we're gonna try to make sense of it here in the third segment. So stay locked in, you guys. Today's episode is also brought to you by Ultimate Pro Baseball GM. If you've ever dreamed about becoming a Major League Baseball GM and managing your own professional baseball franchise, this app is for you, because you can manage every strategic aspect of your team, play through the season, and lead your team to glory. You're going to be responsible for hiring the right coaches and staff. That is important. My coaches are bad, and my team is still not great, so not liking that. You got to manage the team finances, which sucks. But it sucks, but it's such a fun and addicting game, I gotta say. It's so much fun. And scouting and drafting the right players, I think I'm good at that, honestly. Look for the intelligence. If they're smart, that helps, generally. At least they can learn how to be better. You can manage difficult personalities. Look for the green smiley faces. The green smiley faces, good players, good chemistry on the team, makes your team better. Also, navigating your franchise through free agency and all the ups and downs of the season. I've had so many ups and downs. I am just trying to get to 70 wins in one of these years. I am in year 8 or 9. The team has won 68, 69 games. I just want to get to 70, and then maybe we'll push for a playoff spot at some point, because there are at least a couple of hosts that are... We have a whole thing going. There is a contest where whoever has the most wins at the end of, I believe, 20 seasons wins a big prize, and I want to win big prizes. I am very competitive. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it being a well below 500 team for the entirety of this duration, but there's a couple of guys that have finished, and there are 3 prizes, and so I want to at least by default win a prize. And so that's where I'm at right now. I just want to finish and try and not get fired again. And I'm trying my hardest, but dang it, it's so hard. But I'm having so much fun playing this game. And Locked On listeners, you guys can have fun playing this game too, because we get, or listeners, get 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On in the game store. That it's all caps Locked On. So make sure to check it out. Download the game. All you got to do is visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up in the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com, Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. Welcome back to the Locked On A's podcast. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to subscribe wherever you like to hear podcasts. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube, so if you're still here and you want to, get some more press access coverage from this guy, hit subscribe, please. Also, make sure to follow us on social media at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm by Jason B on Twitter. Check out Inside the A's, the credentialed Inside the A's, for more A's and news, insight, and analysis coming your way whenever A's news happens. It's at Inside the A's, si.com/MLB/athletics. But let's talk about the latest injury to the A's rotation, and the latest guy that may be knocked out of the A's rotation on opening day. Paul Blackburn already going to be on the IL to start the season, but he should be back in the next week or two, you would imagine. How fast do nails grow? It's been a month, Paul. Grow your nails, man. He's going to be throwing again. He's doing a throwing program starting today, I believe. So, or Friday, one of those two. So he's on the mend. He should be ready before too long. It's just a matter of getting his arm strength built up again. So it might take a couple of weeks. But Drew Rucinski, it was reported on Wednesday, today's Thursday, Wednesday, that he has hamstring tightness. And so his timeline is TBD, and they don't know what his status is going to be for opening day. And so that's weird. Because it was Rucinski and Blackburn and Fujinami. Those were like the three guys that David Force said would be in the A's rotation. Two of those guys are now potentially on the IL to start opening day. Fuji's fine. He's there, but he's going to be pitching every sixth day because of his time in Japan. That is just what he is accustomed to. And Mark Kotsay told Matt Kawahara, or reporters, but I read it from Matt Kawahara, that they want to, it's a big change, him coming over to the States, and so they want to keep things as regular as possible for him and just limit the things that he has to adjust to. And that's a good way to go about it, I think. So kudos to the A's for doing that. I guess that other teams do it too, but kudos to the A's. So you got Fuji, and then James Caprillion, he's on the mend. He is apparently going to be starting the second game in the Bay Bridge series with the Giants, so he'd be starting the Monday game at Oracle, which means he's probably not starting on opening day. They can keep him on turn and maybe have him start the second game of the season, which I believe would be, that would be fine. Or, if they want to keep everybody else kind of on turn as well, he could be the A's fifth starter. So we'll see where he slots in, but, he's in there as well. And then things get a little bit muddied, but I would imagine that Kyle Muller is a pretty solid bet to be in the A's rotation. I'd had Adam Oller in the rotation, but apparently he's going to be more of a swing man for the A's in his last start. He had a pitch limit of 50, which means that they weren't trying to stretch him out to be a starter, so they wanted him to be not like a piggyback guy, but like a long relief arm kind of guy. And he struggled a little bit in that start. What did he give up? He went 2 innings, gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, struck out 1. Not the outing that we'd been seeing from him. So that stinks. And, I talked about it before. He'd been knocking down all of the challenges that have been placed in front of him, even though that they were, teams that weren't necessarily filled with major leaguers, lineups that were filled with major leaguers. So is he actually changed? Is he not? That's still up for debate, I guess, but I'm still high on Adam Oller. I still like him a lot. And also, just quick Adam Oller point, he's going to be a swingman. And that is something that I believe Chris Bassett also did. I keep comparing the two because they keep having similarities. I believe that Chris Bassett was also a reliever and a starter at points in his second year with the A's. I'd have to double check that, but if memory serves, that's right. So there's that. Anyways, so Adam Oller probably going to be one of the bullpen guys. And could that mean that JP Sears is now going to be in the rotation to start the season? I mean, possibly. And then the A's go with just one lefty reliever. I don't know that I would necessarily do that, but it's an option, I guess. They could also go with Ken Waldichuk in the rotation along with Muller, and then that's 4. And then, you figure it out from there. You still got Adrian Martinez around. He could still be a guy. But I think that they'll probably go with either Aller or Sears. I'd probably say Sears because he's going to be more stretched out, and Waldichuk and Muller and Fuji and Cap, and that's your rotation. And then you got Aller in the bullpen, and then where if you're going to have Aller and Sears both in the bullpen, instead you have one of them in the rotation, and then you have Drew Steckenrider or Austin Pruitt likely as the other bullpen piece over there, and then you have a full complement of pitchers. So that's kind of how I imagine it working out right now. But it all depends on how Drew Rucinski is healed up, how he's feeling, how he's looking, and then hopefully by the time the A's actually need a 6th starter for Fuji, because they just have a couple of off days in the first couple of weeks of the season. There's one right after opening day, which I don't like, but it's there. They have a couple of off days, so they can keep him on the 6 day or 5 days of rest pitching on the 6th day by not even going to 6 starters yet. So they don't necessarily need a 6th starter or a spot starter until a couple of weeks in the season, until they're on the road with Tampa Bay and Baltimore, I believe. And that would mean that Paul Blackburn would probably be back in the rotation by then, and maybe even Drew Rucinski. He might not miss time. We don't know. But maybe even he could be back. And so then you could put those guys in the bullpen that you wanted in the bullpen in your Allers and your Searses. And maybe not both of them, but maybe one of them is going to be there. We don't know. Everything is in flux, kind of depending on injuries and kind of depending on what the front office is thinking that day. So we'll see what happens. But I'm intrigued by having potentially 2 starters in the bullpen when the A's are at full strength. And, because they're still getting that experience, which is something that I was worried that they wouldn't be getting. And then you throw Waldichuk in the rotation. He's solid. He's projected to be a mid-rotation starter. And I also read this, which I had not read up until just a couple of days ago, and that is that the A's wanted him to not necessarily go real hard early in spring because they wanted him to have some gas left in the tank later in the season. So he'd kind of just been like, I'm going to say going through the motions, but he wasn't doing that. It was more like he wasn't going, full 100%. He was kind of trying to leave some in the tank so that he could just, get his work in, but not necessarily be as crisp as he might be. And so all the things that I was saying about Ken Waldichuk not being great with his pitch count and going deep into games, maybe it was for naught. Maybe he's just fine because he actually pitched a little bit better in his last start. So, hey, maybe he's still in this rotation. And maybe he was going to be all along. But he had me worried there for a while. I took him out of my rotation on my projected roster over at Inside the A's. And maybe that's changed now. But every time I post a projected roster, something happens. So maybe I'll just stop projecting the roster because it's been right other than injuries. And doing great, Jason. But that is all that I got for you guys today. Again, I am so thrilled that I get to be a credentialed member of the A's media. It's going to be so much fun. And if you guys like what I do here, it's going to get even better. And let me know what you guys want to see down below. Or just say congrats. You're so handsome. It was bound to happen because of that face. But that's all that I got for you guys today. I got some bold predictions coming for you guys. I got to come up with what they are. But I'm going to have some bold predictions for you guys. I know that one of them is going to be... It's going to be a big one. So we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. But thank you so much for making Locked On A's your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Win your league today by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Subscribe to their channel. Subscribe to this channel. They are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. But that's all that I got for you guys today. Make sure to follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm by Jason B on Twitter. Check out Inside the A's for more A's news, insight, and analysis coming your way whenever A's news happens. It's at Inside the A's, si.com/MLB/athletics. But until next time, go out and celebrate good times, A's fans. And I will talk with you tomorrow.